Michael Ware back again with the IFC Warrior Wednesday. We have Ethan Settle with us from Crossroads there in Johnston. You want to run down through the full name and the full breadth of the business for us real quick, Ethan?
Yeah, like Michael said, my name is Ethan Settle. I'm the general manager at Crossroads Shooting Sports in Johnston, Iowa. We're an indoor range and gun shop that's been a proud supporter of IFC for a long time. So happy to be here with you, Michael.
Thank you. Very kind. I'm glad you came on today. Just for everybody's edification, IFC has a list of trusted partners that we work with that donate time and passion and energy and spiffs and value added, so to speak, for IFC members. And Crossroads is among those. And they have been a continual supporter and a fantastic and enthusiastic supporter of IFC, but shooting sports and the Second Amendment in general. So thank you very much for that.
Not a problem.
All right. So let's kick things off. We just finished 2A day at the Capitol. The IFC PAX Upper, fantastic successes. People came out and engaged. The NRA was in town in full force. Doug Hamlin came in, Mark Vaughn, many board members, executive council members. They really showed up and they pitched in and said, hey, we made mistakes in the past. Thank goodness we're past that. We're doing all these new things now. And oh, by the way, we need you and we want you to give us another look. So it was a really exciting time to kick that off. Really topsy-turvy few days. And so I'm catching my breath a little bit. But now when you and I are talking, Ethan, get us up to speed on what's going on this week, because you're collaborating with Brownells and you're keeping the ball bouncing here. Walk us through that.
Yes, we sure are. 2A day yesterday was, you guys knocked it out of the park again. Not a surprise there. You guys got a great team, so we were happy to be a part of it. It was a lot of fun yesterday, especially the packed dinner in the evening, getting to connect with Jeff and hear a little more about that story was, I think, really meaningful for everyone that was there. So great work by you guys.
Thank you.
But we are going to be keeping that going here this week. We've got Nathan Cross from the NRA. He's coming in to do an event at Crossroads tomorrow. So he's going to have a table set up, continuing that message of rebuilding the NRA that we heard yesterday from the new CEO and president. And then more importantly, Saturday is going to be 2A day with Brownells. So Brownells is going to be sponsoring range time, ammunition, and rentals. So we'll get the details out on our Facebook page probably this afternoon about that. But if you have time to come down to the range and shoot and get involved with your Second Amendment by enjoying some range time and shooting some guns, then we'd love to have you out.
Fantastic. I've got several screens here going, so I'm going to tilt my head a little bit. I'm on Brownell's website, and of course, they've got it front and center that you could go to this landing page about the 2A day, and it's actually 2A week for us, and the way that you and I look at it. So the message that they've got here is celebrate, advocate, and join. So they want you to celebrate the Second Amendment, which means get out and use it. So they've contracted with people across the nation, all kinds of ranges, whatever else. And right here locally, Crossroads is among those. So it was really great to see people be able to come and go to the range, take the edge off the cost, whatever else. Although I think that you guys, all the local ranges seem to be very reasonable. I'm glad for that, by the way. But it's nice to get to see people actually use it, to put it in motion, or maybe experience it for the first time. I mean, you probably never get tired, Ethan, of seeing new people come in and try for the first time. I mean, it's after having done it several times, not as many as you, but it's exhilarating. I love it. So celebrating it by using it is fantastic. Advocating, they want you to find your legislators. They want you to engage with the movement and the people that affect policy and laws. And so Brownells is encouraging people to do that. And then they'd like for you to join advocacy groups like IFC here in Iowa, NRA Abroad, GOA, Second Amendment Foundation. And they've got a website or a landing page on their site dedicated to being able to find people near you or groups near you that you could become part of. So it's really, really great. So tell us exactly, you know what, let me back out, Ethan. Let me ask you this question instead. The people who are watching this that are old salts or understand what we're talking about and are part of, I guess I would say, the Second Amendment community, the shooting community, know what we're talking about. This is no surprise to them. But what about the people who are seeing this for the first time, or maybe they've watched a few videos and they're on the fence? Walk somebody through who's brand new. Let's say they don't even own a firearm. What can they do? Let's say that they want to look you up. Where are you located? And when they walk in your store, what's going to happen next? Walk them through what that might be like for the first time.
Yeah. And everything you're saying really resonates with me. I spend obviously a lot of time behind the gun counter and spend a lot of time with guns. And despite how cool and exciting that could be, it could get a little monotonous and it could become just work sometimes, right? But seeing that new shooter come in, who's especially the shooter you're describing right now, that's never touched a gun, is a little apprehensive, has some questions, that's what we really specialize here in at Crossroads, and building that bridge, being the vessel to make interacting with firearms not complicated, not intimidating. We break it down and make it simple for them. And that's something that I'm really passionate about, really gets me excited, because it invigorates the spirit when you can share something you're passionate about with somebody else. And so ways we do that, we have a really low-key, non-intimidating environment here. We've got a rental counter. So one of the biggest things we do here is basically a try before you buy. And a lot of shops in the metro area recommend people to come out here and try stuff. We have a good relationship with pretty much everyone that sells guns in the metro. But we always recommend people come in, try the rental counter, maybe start with a 22 if you haven't shot before, work up to a 380 or a 9, and then purchase something after it. But then at least you're buying something that you have the comfortability with and the confidence with, that yes, I've shot this. Yes, I like this. This is what I want to spend my money on now.
Okay, so I'm being a little presumptuous. Would you allow me that?
Sure.
Okay, so somebody walks in and they want to try the rental counter, all right?
Yep.
This isn't like going bowling and you grab a pair of shoes and then you waltz out there and you do the best you can. When they go to your rental counter and they're going to try something, does somebody go with them? Are they going to be chaperone through this process? What might that be like?
Yeah, so that interaction could take a variety of different methods. A lot of times people come in with somebody who's already shot before or has some experience, and they're going to do some renting and trying out with that person, maybe a dad or brother, an uncle, a friend that's a cop or something like that. We see all those things on a regular basis. But people might come in just on their own as well, and in which case one of our staff members is going to take time to assist them in not only picking out something they're comfortable with, but making sure it's explained and that they feel comfortable going out to the range and using it. Now, we can't always send a staff member out there, in which case we have a robust training department. So we offer classes and lessons and a whole variety of ways to spend more individualized time with somebody who wants a little more training before they hit the range themselves.
Fantastic. So there are many, many people coming through there. I think it's interesting that the name is Crossroads, because that's essentially what you are. You're at the crossroads of all of these things combining into this intersection. So I think that's apropos. Now, I've got a couple questions for you. Again, and everybody knows this. I tell people this a lot when we're on these videos, but this isn't scripted. We don't walk through this beforehand or whatever else. So I try and be off the cuff. And I think that works best for there being bona fides or a genuine exchange of information between people like you and me. So what is a positive trend that you see in firearms use and ownership? I'd like to have you identify one.
So a positive trend that we've seen is, constitutional carry took effect when you guys passed it back in July of 2021, if I'm correct. And so initially after that, we saw a big dip in training. People were able to get back the rights that were theirs in the first place, right? And they were very excited about that. But there was definitely a significant dip in those who took training, especially first-time shooters, since the permit was immediately accessible, as it should be, though. In the last year to year and a half, maybe even 2 years, we've seen a resurgence of people coming back, getting their permit, taking some training and stuff, which we are huge advocates of. If you're going to have the tool, know how to use it and be proficient with it. It'll be more fun on a range day for you, but the skill set will be there if the unfortunate circumstance of ever needing to use it comes about.
You know, it's absolutely beautiful that you describe it like that. I enjoyed every second of it. And here's why, Ethan. I took a lot of criticism. IFC took a lot of criticism. My business took a lot of criticism over constitutional carry from people or from people outside of constitutional carry, because they were concerned. Listen, if you don't have to show proficiency in order to attain a permit, for the purposes of carrying, using that firearm, right? Then people won't get trained. And oh, by the way, it'll hurt the training businesses. It'll hurt the trainers, and all these negative impacts. And I said, well, we've talked with a lot of other states that have done constitutional carry before us. Kansas was a great example. We have a fantastic relationship with KSRA, the Kansas State Rifle Association, and their people there. And they said, we were concerned about that too. And what we found was that didn't end up happening. There was an immediate dip, just like you described. And then instead of people being forced to go do something to exercise a right, they decided, I want to do this of my own free will. I'm going to pick and choose the training I want, and I'm going to do it as a matter of responsibility, as a matter of ultimate accountability. So you've got these two things together, which go hand in hand, which is maximum freedom and maximum responsibility. And we're watching that play out. So really, what we see is when you allow people to rise to the occasion, sometimes they will. Now, that doesn't always work in terms of how training actually plays out, because you have to think through things in practice, right? Yep. But in terms of the American idea, when given the opportunity to do well, people seem like they are. This is a net elevation in the character of Iowans when this goes on. I knew it was going to happen. I knew we weren't all knuckle draggers and scumbags or whatever. So I knew we weren't that, but sometimes it takes a little time to prove that. And so that's where we're at. I'm absolutely elated to hear that's been your experience. I had no doubt that was the way it was going to work. So great, man. So we touched on one thing that was positive. Is there a negative thing you see going on that we can correct, or some trend we need to right? I'm curious about that. I mean, you see a lot of people come through there from a lot of different walks of life. So have you noticed anything that needs our attention?
It's not directly related to the gun industry specifically, but just the state of how the economy's been in the last couple of years. Gun sales are down significantly. I just don't think there's the disposable income to go out and enjoy a range day that there once was. We still see people shooting, but generally it's a little bit less ammo. So I'm definitely excited that they're still making the effort, coming out, practicing, enjoying range time, even if it's just for fun, because we're definitely about that too. But the numbers have decreased on that a little bit, and I'm hoping that's something they could turn around here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I've talked with a lot of people about the costs associated with some of the components that go into the ammunition, and some of these things are hard to get a hold of. When you jockey with a globe of chess pieces and all the things a loaded cartridge is attached to, it's unbelievable where all these things come from. Are you familiar with Milton Friedman by chance? Just
a little bit, yeah.
Okay, economist, whatever else, and he has this really great example of the pencil as being an idea of how you collaborate across cultures, across nations, whatever else, to build this pencil. I.e., you couldn't actually, I've got one right here. You couldn't actually build this pencil by yourself all in one place. Whether it was the graphite, the wood, the paint, the aluminum, the stuff in the eraser, you can't go out in Polk County. You can't go out in your backyard and harvest these things, Ethan, and put them together. So this pencil, as Friedman described it, as a collaboration. And that's what it's like in ammunition. People don't understand that. You don't go out back and scoop up some stuff, and the next thing you know, you've got what you need for gunpowder or the components in the primer itself. So these things cost a lot of money sometimes, and their availability is subject to a lot of handshakes across a lot of nations. So I don't know how in control we are of that at the end of the day. I would like to see America become in better control. Maybe we've identified something that we need to incentivize the elected officials over. When we have our Congress people, our senators show up, maybe we could say, hey, we should make America more self-sufficient, not only in the energy that we talk about, but our sustenance in terms of arms, ammo, whatever else. Why do we have to collaborate so far in order to get this stuff done? I mean, have you ever talked with people about that or not?
I mean, it's something that sales reps from different ammunition companies bring up once in a while, and their struggles with sourcing components and that whole supply chain. But not something I've discussed with anyone beyond that.
Well, the components is one thing, but another thing that I think of, Ethan, is why can't we incentivize ammunition production locally? It seems like we're dependent a lot of times on Mexican or com block stuff, whatever else, in order to make its way in here cheap as an import. When we absolutely throttle and kill business from an EPA standpoint and a regulatory standpoint, when it could arise and flourish. I don't know. Maybe you got room in the back to put in an ammo making line, do you?
Maybe one day. I don't know if that's in the 5 or even the 10-year plan at the moment, but it's certainly an idea. But for right now, we've got some really good ammunition partners that are keeping the 9 mil specifically pretty affordably priced here by the pallet, and yeah, so we're gonna keep people shooting at a good price for as long as we can.
What is one thing that you think that customers or potential people out there that are shooters or would like to shoot, what is one thing that they don't know about Crossroads that you want them to know?
Well, so you mentioned a little bit ago that it's aptly named Crossroads because we're the intersection of so many things.
Mm-hmm.
But the full name, Crossroads Shooting Sports, is the back half or the next step, if you will. So Crossroads is heavily involved in as many shooting sports as we can be. Just here at the range, we've got tons of opportunities and activities to go beyond just the training classes we offer or just range time. Games make things more fun and give you a reason to practice, if that makes sense. So we've got things as simple as like Friday night bowling pin shoots, just knocking pins off tables, which is always a good time. But we also host the Glock Shooting Sports Foundation here. We host their matches. And then we also host USPSA matches here, as well as some carbine matches in the same flavor and style. Earlier this year, I became the state section coordinator for USPSA. So what I've been really trying to do with that is just promote the sport, get people excited, get them out shooting and stuff, whether that's here at Crossroads or whether that's around the state. It's an awesome way to just develop your skills, whether it's that sport or whether it's something else. I shoot a little bit of precision rifle as well, but I just like to see people get out, compete, push their gear, push their skills, and have a good time with it. At the end of the day, you build a community, you build camaraderie, and that's really what I think Crossroads is all about, and IFC and the Second Amendment at the end of the day, building that sense of community, and having a good time with it.
Fantastic. So this week's 2A week through the 23rd of February. If you go to Brownells, you're going to be able to buy anything that you need there within reason, of course. And a percentage of those proceeds are going to benefit organizations like IFC. Pete Brownell, his crew there, they've got a lot of fantastic people, by the way. I love having a partner like this next door to where we live right here. They're in Iowa with staffed by Iowans, really great people. I know a lot of them. They're fantastic folks. Anyway, you can spend some money there, and a proceed or a portion of those proceeds is going to come directly to Iowa Firearms Coalition. We're pleased for that, but it's really great too when we can partner, like we talked about, Crossroads Shooting Sports as a trusted partner with IFC, which is good for members, which is good for everybody involved. But thank you for that, and thank you for being part of the celebrate, advocate, and join scenario. I mean, it's really smart. I wish that 2A week turned into a year, and it was continual. If you think about it, it is, but that isn't quite how we package it in terms of marketing. So is there anything that we need to know from you, Ethan, about Crossroads, or anything coming up that we should shout out before we wrap up? I'm curious if there's something else that we need to get out there.
So one of the things that we do pretty much every March and April is we bring in some vendor days. So we'll be getting the details out on our Facebook page, but we'll be bringing around brands, sales reps, and products for anyone who wants to show up to be able to directly interact with the manufacturers, try those products out, test them out. I think we'll have IWI, Hollow Sun, Beretta, and maybe even Sig Sauer coming up in the next 6 to 8 weeks here at the range. So if any of that sounds fun to you, if you're a fan of those brands, or if you want to just try something out new, come on and check it out. We usually have a food vendor out here for those days, and we make a whole event of it. IFC knows they're always welcome to set a table up for that too. So it'll be a good time, as it always is.
Now, okay, for the newbies, I'm really glad that you touched on that. For the newbies, what does it mean? What's different about a product rep and their product line being there to handle versus just going to any gun counter? Tell me why that's better.
Yeah, so it's a really cool and unique opportunity that we built relationships with these brands to be able to do this. So, like I said, we have the rental counter, so you can rent the variety of stuff out and try it at the range, or just like you could walk into any gun shop, you can handle these things. But with it's almost impossible for any shop or one rental counter to have the entire spread of a product offering like Sig Sauer provides, for example. And while the Sig rep won't bring everything, he'll bring at least a pretty healthy tasting of just about everything that they make, whether it's optics, suppressors, rifles, pistols, whatnot. So it's a really, really cool opportunity to not only talk to people from these manufacturers and sales reps and learn about the products directly from the people that make them, but also to touch, feel, shoot, interact with these things in as full a lineup as you could really get for that respective brand that day.
Fantastic. I'm glad you guys have made the effort and collaborated with these people in order to bring that value to customers, whether they're people who are buyers or people who are looking for the first time. That's absolutely unbelievable. Thank you for that. Appreciate it a lot.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, people watching this and people across the state, they're gun people. We're gun people here too. So if you're excited about it, we're excited about it too. And we like to provide those opportunities to people.
Fantastic. Ethan Settle from Crossroads Shooting Sports in Johnston, Iowa. For those that aren't familiar with Johnston, it's just on the north end of Des Moines off Interstate 8035, right there at Merle Hay. It's a hop, skip, and a jump off the interstate. It's easy to get to. Check them out. Support everybody this week by picking up some things at Brownells. That, again, the proceeds are going to go, a portion of them will go to IFC. And get out there to Crossroads. Celebrate, advocate, and join, and pay attention to what they've got coming down. You may not ever have anything like a date night like this until you take your spouse or your significant other on the kind of date that involves going to the shooting range. You can giggle, Ethan, I know, but you know that that's a real thing, and a lot of people out there haven't ever considered it. You guys should take your significant other or take somebody on a date or your spouse there. It's fantastic. So with that, we'll kick things off. Thank you very much for being here today, Ethan. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Michael.